Hi everyone, it's Lavinia and welcome. In today's video, I thought I would go ahead and draw an apple in graphite pencil as well as do a watercolor rendition of it. This is for the hashtag art journal bonus prompt 2526, which is hosted by sarcastically 60 something. I will link her channel in the description box if that's something you want to participate in at any time. Lori just started this challenge not too long ago. I think this might be week 3, and the prompt is apple. So I thought I would go ahead and draw one. I honestly never really did pay attention much to drawing an apple, but a lot of drawing books and drawing tutorials start or have at least something like an apple or an orange just because of the shape and maybe drawing circles. So I thought I would go ahead and I would give it a try with this collab. So I have here, let me see, this is a 4B pencil, and I'm just going to come a little bit closer in case you wanted to follow along, and we will take a look and see. I'm not a professional artist. I know that sometimes as far as for warm-ups, artists say to like warm up is to draw circles. So they do that type of technique as part of a warm-up, but I figured let's just go ahead and get started. I'm not warming up, but I'm just going to maybe draw. And of course, an apple is not a perfect circle. So whatever it looks like that. We can always erase. I'm going to draw like a little, maybe like a little smiley face for where the stem is. And I'm going to go ahead and put that stem in. And like that. And then just darken that there like that. And then to give it the shape, the roundness, or that 3D shape, I'm just gonna perhaps just add a couple more hatch lines, and maybe I can fix this. Grab my eraser. Sometimes there's that little divot here. Oh, by the way, this paper that I'm working on is that journal paper, because on the opposite side I have the magazine collage, because I do want to use this to eventually put into a handmade journal. I don't know, maybe just some lines, some little hatchet lines, maybe making this just a little bit darker. I'm not necessarily going into where the light comes from. It's just more or less the shape that I wanted to get. I don't know, does that look like an apple? Kind of. Works for me. Just going to taper that in just a little bit. So pretty much just starting with that circle shape and then fine-tuning it. So there's my first apple. Because this is journal paper and not watercolor paper, I am going to now go to a watercolor paper, and then I will glue that on here just so that I have both apples here. So I'm just going to pause the video and get that ready. Okay, this is a piece of Canson watercolor paper. I just pulled it from the pad and just roughly cut it. I'm actually thinking once I'm done painting the apple, I might use my decorative scissors to cut an edge and then glue it down. So I'm going to set that aside. I have here a cup of water. I have my rag that I always use. I do like using water brushes, but I don't necessarily always fill the barrel. I just like to dip it in. I don't know. I always seem to gravitate towards these, although I do have, just in case, some other watercolor brushes. Now, as far as for the watercolors themselves, these are the Hobby Lobby Master's Touch pan. So I'm going to use that. Let me see about getting something to put underneath here. Okay, just putting this piece of wood and going to place this here. My watercolors, and maybe I will paint a green apple, or I don't know, we'll see. So I'm going to start out first with the drawing. I am actually going to use my water-soluble pencils. These are my water-soluble graphite pencils, and maybe I should have just done one also in just in black. Not black, but you know, the shades of gray. But let me pull out. This is a 2B. This is the Faber-Castell. Not Faber-Castell? Yep, Faber-Castell. And I got this set, I think, at Hobby Lobby. So just going to go ahead and start drawing out again the apple. And this will, with the water, it will dissolve. But I thought, let's go ahead, put that little smiley face in here, and just go ahead and draw that apple. Like that. And I'm going to grab, I'm just dunking the water soluble, the water pan here in the water. Let me grab, what did I just do? Oh, here we go. So I think I'm going to probably use this lighter green. Maybe we can make a Granny Smith apple. I probably should have drawn this a little bit bigger. I think I will. So before you wet it, you can erase the lines of the water-soluble graphite, but once it's wet, it's going to be pretty difficult to do that because it will stain the paper. So let's go ahead and draw this again. Let's put our little, make that bigger. Let's make it a bigger apple. Circular, but somewhat heart-shaped. Okay, now let's go into our green. Might leave a few highlights. So, and in order to do that, I'll leave some white spaces. And I can always go back and add green if I think that an area shouldn't have necessarily that white highlight. Okay, so now I'm going to add just some additional, just dropping it in there. Just getting a little bit more water. So of course, the more water you have, the more intense the color will be. So you can always play with water and not necessarily have to go to a darker color. Might want to add just a little bit of reddish color. Let's see. Maybe just a tad bit here. Just a little bit more green. Gonna round that out just a little bit. Might go into a darker green here and drop that in. A little bit more of that red. And that red and green will make, if you mix it together, will make a kind of like a brownish color. Maybe where the shadows are. A little bit more intense green here. You can always lift paint by just grabbing some water and pushing that up and then dabbing if you needed to. Just going to move a little bit of that paint. And lift that up there. I have a little bit of brown here, so I'm going to paint that stem. I probably should wait for it to dry a little bit. However, I could add that here. And with the clean brush, I'm just going to come around here where there's a little bit of a pool of water and just round that out another little bit. That's a clean brush. I'm just picking up some of that color. Like that. You can always, if you wanted to, add drops of water, especially if it's somewhat dry. You can do that and you can start to see that little effect right there. I think that is going to be pretty much it for this apple. And then once it dries, I will go ahead and glue it. Glue it on here. So I'll have my sketch and then the actual apple itself. I could probably put, let's go ahead, and this is the water-soluble graphite pencil. Maybe I will add a shadow here. And let me just move this. And I think I'm going to grab, rather than a 2B, this is a 4B. So it'll be a little bit darker. I'll just put a little bit of a shadow of the apple here. And then with a damp brush, I'm just going to dissolve that. These water-soluble pencils are really fun. I've done a couple of paintings, drawing them first with a pencil and then dissolving them, and I really do like them. pick up some color there. And that is it. So again, this is the hashtag Art Journal bonus prompt 2526. And the prompt was apple. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care. I will see you in the next one. Bye.